Good day, grade 12s. Today we are going to deal with a very delicate question in paper 1, question 2 on geomorphology, which is about catchment management. This question is a question which seems to be very easy, but learners are underperforming. They do not get marks that are satisfactory to all of us because it is a question that is dealing with what we know every day. In geography, when you are dealing with a topic, you need to make sure that you first understand the concept. So we are going to start by defining what catchment management is. Catchment management is the planning, development, distribution, and management of water resources so that they can meet human needs, whilst on the other hand, you are ensuring that there is sustainability and also you minimize the harm to the environment. So it means that you need to make sure that there is a balance between meeting the needs of human beings, whilst on the other hand, you sustain and also minimize the harm on the environment. There are also other concepts that you need to make sure that you understand when you are dealing with catchment management. The first one, it is drainage basin, of which we all know it because when we start with geomorphology, we start by defining what a drainage basin is. A drainage basin is an area drained by the main river and also its tributaries. Then we move to catchment management. What is catchment management? Catchment management is the balancing of the use and conservation of the natural resources on a whole of the catchment basis, which means you need to make sure that you balance how you use and also how you conserve the natural resources. Then this means that when you are doing the management of a catchment, it needs the combined efforts of the community, government, and non-governmental organizations who are going to work together towards a common and sustainable target to achieve a balance. This means that everyone on earth needs to make sure that there is a common and sustainable target to achieve a balance on catchment management. What are the importances of managing a drainage basin? For us as grade 12 learners, we know for a fact that we have an essay of about 8 lines, which means you need to make sure that you understand 4 importances of managing drainage basins or catchment areas. Firstly, you need to make sure that you understand that we manage catchment areas because they store water, and also we need to protect them for future use. Secondly, we need to make sure that we reduce the discharge and recycle harmful agricultural runoff. Why? Because we want to make sure that we've got catchment areas in the future. Also, we manage drainage basins because we use them for agricultural purposes. We know that we use water on farming. Also, in our industries, when they are manufacturing, they use water for cooling the systems. So it is important for us to make sure that we manage catchment areas for future use. Then, when we are managing catchment areas, it means we are also controlling floods, which means we reduce the flow of water so that the chances of floods are reduced. We also use water for domestic purposes. We use water in our homes on a daily basis. Also, the catchment areas are also used as recreation facilities because it's where people make sure that they have some sport activities like water polo and so on. Also, the catchment areas are important to us because it's where we generate hydroelectric power. Then we also make sure that we manage drainage basins because they beautify our natural vegetation, and it's where our wild animals and birds are living. So they are the natural habitat. Grade 12s, you can see that I've ticked only 4. Why? Because I'm preparing you for the essay writing. Now let's move on to why are we talking of managing the catchment areas? Because almost every day we can see that rivers are polluted. How are rivers polluted? River water gets polluted in various ways. Although we need water in industrial areas, but also through industrial wastes, we pollute water. The fertilizers that we are using on our farms, pesticides in agriculture, and also untreated waste, they pollute our rivers, which we need to make sure that they are there for use. Also, pollution reduces the quality of water, and also it damages the natural environment, whether the environment is the land or it is aquatic. But all the wildlife that we get over the land and all in water, they are damaged through pollution. Also, pollution damages vegetation, which will increase runoff in the catchment area. When we damage vegetation, it means that there will be increase in flooding. Then when there is flooding, there will be more erosion taking place in our catchment areas, and more soil will be deposited in the river system, which will at the end reduce both the quality and the quantity of water. And at the end, that damages the aquatic ecosystem. Bear in mind, we need this because in order to live, we need to make sure that our catchment areas are protected, and they need to be well protected. There are other impacts that are done by us as people over the catchment area. One of the things that we do is that we alter or change runoff by building dams. We don't know that this causes less water below the areas that are below the dam. Secondly, urban development, which we are always practicing, reduces infiltration. Why? Because in urban areas, we've got tarred roads which do not allow the infiltration of water. Also, we practice agricultural irrigation, which only irrigates the areas where we have planted, leaving out the natural environment dry. Lastly, the water projects also reduce water in other areas. What are the strategies that we need to engage in when we want to manage the catchment areas? As we all know that the catchment areas are important for us. One, we need to make sure that we improve wastewater treatment. We don't have to make sure that we spill water, but we need to make sure that we treat the water for another use. Secondly, we need to maximize wastewater reuse for irrigation and other purposes of generation. For example, the water that we use when we are taking a bath, we can reuse it for irrigation. In dry seasons, we need to make sure that we release stored water to keep ecosystems as natural as possible. Also, the alien plants, we need to make sure that we remove them because they waste a lot of water. We need to make sure that we monitor overgrazing because overgrazing will cause erosion, which means there will be waste of water. Proper sewage treatment. We need to make sure that sewage is treated very well so that water can be purified and be reused again. The best, which is always a point that needs to be remembered by learners, we need to make sure that we educate people on the importance of the catchment and also river management. Lastly, when we are managing the catchment areas, we need to make sure that our municipalities monitor and also improve water purification works. Grade 12s, this is a question paper in 2021 where in the trial, learners were given an extract to answer this question. Almost every year, the question is asked from learners in the form of an extract, which means that learners need to make sure that they read and understand the question, because almost every answer that you are given is having questions in the extract. The first question was, define the concept river management. For every concept in geography, you get 2 marks, and it's a full 2 marks. Now, when I started with this topic, I started by defining the river management. River management is planned and coordinated use of river without compromising people's well-being and the environment. If you remember very well, the planned coordinated use of river without compromising people's well-being and also the environment. These are the keywords that you need to have in order for you to get the full mark. The second question is, give evidence from the extract that shows the importance of catchment management in Gauteng. The answer, immediately it says give evidence. It means the evidence is in the extract. So you don't have to scratch your head, but the answers are there in the extract. For example, you can see in your extract, healthy riverbanks, which maintain the form of the river channel. 2, it provides habitat for species and filter sediment, minerals, and light. Water quality includes the chemical, physical, and bacteriological properties of water that determines its suitability for use. Now, if you are looking at the marks, it's 2 times 1, which means each answer carries 1 mark. You need to be careful when you are answering the questions. Look at the marks, then you'll be aware of how you are supposed to answer. 2.5.3, identify 2 issues from the article. You identify from the article the issues that pose a challenge to effective river management. Again, the answers, learners, are in the extract, which means it's obvious. These marks, you are going to get them. 1, the urban nature of Gauteng is the reason why it's a challenge for effective river management. Road networks that are built across the province seal natural surfaces. It's there in the extract. And lastly, the high runoff scenario during rainfall events coupled with pollution emanating from the urban environment. Also, these answers you are identifying are in the extract, which means it's an easy question for you. 2.5.4, explain why aquatic life is affected by poor river management in Gauteng. This is where now you are expected to have your answer, not maybe from the extract. You know for a fact that aquatic life is important because rivers are home to aquatic life. Secondly, aquatic life feeds directly from polluted rivers. So that's why it will affect the animals and also everything that lives in water. Aquatic species have softer skins whereby they expose them more to chemical waste. Lastly, write a paragraph of 8 lines. Provide sustainable strategies that can be implemented. Also, this is where learners, you are expected to give full sentences in order for you to get full marks. Learners, I hope this will help you, because at the end of the day, the marks that you need to get are in the extract. Make sure that you read the extract and you get full marks for identifying, for giving evidence. Then you can be able to get your pass mark. Thank you, grade 12s. All the best for your exams. Thank you very much.